Lamar's box office, Brock Purdy's box office. I can't wait for Monday night, and I'm hearing too much. Here's Peter King on what this game means for the 49ers. I can't believe Peter King said this.
The next two games, honestly, are more important for the Niners because you want to win your NFC games. If they win the last two, Washington and the Rams, you would think they would. They're 11-1 in the conference, and that'll trump all tiebreakers, obviously. And I think when I look at the 49ers right now, and I know this is going to sound, overly cautious, but the thing I'm most concerned with in the last 3 weeks, not at the expense of getting home field, definitely, but I think when you do see that you're either way ahead or way behind late in any of these games, man, you got to take Debo out. You got to take McCaffrey out. You got to really do everything you can to make sure that whenever your playoff season starts, you go into it relatively healthy.
That's Peter King on Willard or Dibs earlier this week. Now, I don't necessarily agree with that. I want to win this game. I want to send a message to the rest of the league. And I want to be, by the end of the season, saying, all right, we got home field advantage locked up. You don't want to mess around here. Anything can happen on any given Sunday. Let's bring in Eric Crocker, who knows all about that. Lockdown 49ers podcast, the pride of Stockton, California. And we're going to get to some funny stuff here because Will Compton was busting it with the boys, and Rashard Mendenhall and Delaney Walker are making the rounds, and I thought Will Compton did a hell of a job breaking it down. Well, that's a little teaser for everybody, man. I got a great kick out of it. But, Croc, man, good morning, man. Happy holidays to you and yours.
Yeah, good morning, man. Thanks for having me on.
Anytime, man. Ravens, Niners, and some people around here are saying that, you don't necessarily have to win this game because you have two of the next three to take care of home field advantage. But I think nobody in that locker room down in Santa Clara is thinking like that. They want to continue this momentum. They want to continue to put their best foot forward. And after last week's defensive performance, in which they missed 16 tackles and gave up damn near 8 yards on the ground a pop, you don't want to mess around against this Ravens team. I think this is a measuring stick for the 49ers, and I think the players feel like that, Crocky.
Yeah, I think in the words of the great Herm Edwards, you play to win the game, all right? All that, this game is more important than that game or whatever. I think for the 49ers, it's all one game at a time. And I think there are different challenges in each game. This game, you have a dynamic quarterback on the other side that's kind of carrying the Baltimore Ravens team. They don't have Keaton Mitchell. I think that would be a big blow for their offense, kind of lacking that speed. But for the 49ers is, hey, can you be a bully against another team that considers themselves bullies and have, terrific linebackers that run to the ball the same way you do? So I think the 49ers, more so than the AFC, NFC type stuff, is more so finding a challenge within every game and overcoming that.
Should we be concerned about Eric Armstead and Javon Hargrave's injuries here? Because last week they gave up so many yards on the ground, and you have a Baltimore team who is known for running the ball. I know they lost Keaton Mitchell, but Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, they seem to just find a way to run the ball anyway, no matter who's back there, whether it's J.K. Dobbins, who seems to get hurt every single year. How concerning is the depth of the D-tackle spot here, especially with Armstead dealing with the foot and knee injuries?
Well, anytime you lose two of your better players, on defense, it should be kind of a blow. But I don't think we expected to the tune of 284 yards on the ground or whatever they gave up. So that's kind of unacceptable, especially when just watching it, just seeing them get gashed up the middle. Luckily for the 49ers, their offense, and this is kind of what I was looking for, that game where defense isn't playing great. You give up 29 points, but, hey, when you score 45, it doesn't matter. I think that overshadowed really what was a very poor performance from that defensive line. Figuring out a way or a rotation of guys that can help kind of fit in while you're missing two of your, big staples in the middle there, I think that would be huge. So hopefully they come back. Hopefully you have Hargraves back. Hopefully you have Armstead back, or at least one of the two, and try to figure out which one of these younger guys is going to kind of step up to the table and help you in that run game. Because that was bad last week.
Yeah, no, it was definitely tough to watch at times. And, yeah, not a shock, obviously, when you lose your top two defensive tackles, things get a little soft in the middle. It seemed like, though, that again, when you talk about next man up, it felt like the top of that next man up list was Javon Kinlaw. There were definitely moments in that game against Arizona where I think there was a moment in the second quarter where he really kind of forced Kyler Murray back into the pocket, right into the arms of Nick Bosa there, which you like seeing that from Kinlaw. He's definitely got the size to kind of disrupt there in the middle. What did you think of just how Javon looked in that last game against the Cardinals? And if he really is, D tackle number one on Monday night, how good do you feel about him kind of being in that role?
I think for Hargrave, I mean, we've seen this throughout his career. A guy who, was drafted as high as he was, the physical element to his game is why he was drafted. We know he's this big, strong guy. But the reason why right now the 49ers didn't pick up his fifth-year option, he's just not consistent. So there will be plays where you just see him bully a guy, put him in the lap of a quarterback, but then you also see the things that you need him to be consistent at, which, maybe, having a stronger anchor, not getting moved out of there.
Yeah.
Those are things that he allows, to happen. Maybe not being as strong against double teams. I think those are all things that he can definitely improve on. But throughout his tenure so far, he's shown that, this is who I am. And I'm not going to be consistent at doing those little things. And I think we saw the results of that last week.
Yeah, no doubt. Eric Crocker here on the Morning Roast. By the way, that's my producer, Sam Lubman, and he's stepping up, man, helping me out for 4 hours as everybody is sick or out here, man. Sam Lubman, the pride of the University of Miami. The whitest white boy Crocky, down representing the Miami Hurricanes.
Crocky and I, we talk a lot on the phone. Because again, he's the first guy I'm the first guy he talks to every time he comes on this show.
Hey, man, Lubman's turned out by Miami, man. You have no idea, Crocky.
Top 5 recruiting class.
He's turned out. The secondary for the 49ers was a topic of conversation early in the season. The move to move Diamador Lenore to the nickelback spot has paid dividends. Less Isaiah Oliver, more Diamador Lenore. Ambry Thomas has stepped up. And then Charvarius Ward has been locking dude down. I've been hearing Charvarius Ward may make some all-pro teams. I can't believe how well he's playing. What about you, your assessment of the secondary since the bye week?
Oh, man, first of all, let's start with Diamador Lenore. All right, this is a guy that faced heavy scrutiny entering this year. I think we saw him finish his season strong. Especially in the postseason, having multiple interceptions, had a pick in the first game against Seahawks, had an interception against the Dallas Cowboys in that postseason game. And then to get into this year and say, all right, you're going to play outside cornerback because Isaiah Oliver, he's going to play in the nickel, and he's going to do well there. Well, right away it was very clear. Oliver might not be the guy in the nickel. So now, all right, you got to play in the nickel, and you got to play outside. You're going to play outside in base situations, and in nickel situations, slide inside. And I think he's been terrific doing that. He's one of the stickier man coverage guys in the league. He's playing in a position where you're faced with lots of space and two-way goes from guys, and all he does is compete. And then when you say, you know what, hey, you got to play outside, and you're going to have to play against one of the more physically imposing receivers in the league who's a blazer, he's fast, and you're only 5'10", but keep up with this 6'4", 230-pound receiver. He did a terrific job of not letting DK Metcalf bully him, staying in his hip pocket, being really aggressive at the top of the route, looking through the receiver on potential back shoulder throws, which tells me he's very confident in his speed. I mean, I've been very impressed with how he's played for the most part throughout this year. So that's him. And then obviously Charvarius Ward, where he talked about how, hey, man, I lead the league in pass breakups, but if I can catch some of these picks, then, hey, they might be talking about all-pro. Wow. And next thing you know, he gets 2 interceptions, and now people are talking about all-pro, but he has been playing at a very high level. Mm-hmm. A lot of people talk about DBs that can't catch. I think it's a myth. For defensive backs, a lot of times the ball kind of jumps up on you because, you're paying attention to the receiver, then by the time you look, the ball is arriving. Well, in his pick 6, he's coming downhill, working downhill, catches the pick, and then he takes it to the crib. So good job by him capitalizing on a couple of throws and making plays. But it's been fun to see how those guys have gotten better throughout the year and how the narrative around the 49ers cornerback position has kind of changed.
So, Eric, I want to move over to the other side of the ball here. Eric Crocker, Locked On 49ers podcast, joining us here in the Morning Roast. At Crocky209 on Twitter. Look at the offense. Maybe we can all agree this offense is really, really good. 30.4 points per game, third most in the league. They're chewing defenses up. And when it comes to, obviously, when it comes to the reason why this offense is so good, there's the belief that it's Brock Purdy. He's the driver of this team. But then there's those who kind of want to take away that credit and say he's just a system quarterback. Well, if that is the case, Kyle Shanahan is the one who created this system. Kyle Shanahan is the architect behind this incredible offensive performance here. And so if you're looking at it through that sense, I feel like you got to start giving more credit to Kyle Shanahan in terms of just the success the 49ers have had this year. But at the same time, you're not really seeing him kind of popping up in any of the Coach of the Year debates that are going on right now. It's a lot of, Kevin Stefanski or Dan Campbell. Why do you think that Kyle Shanahan isn't getting the Coach of the Year love that he, I believe, deserves?
I think it's because it's expected. It's kind of like that kid that just always does everything he's supposed to do, and the parents kind of like, they just expect it, so they don't like praise him for it. But then you have the one kid who's the knucklehead, and he's always the problem. The moment he does one thing good, they praise him for that. So I think everybody just expects Kyle Shanahan to do his thing, have a really good football team. He has a lot of players, and the expectations for the 49ers are the Super Bowl. So he might not get his real praise and what he deserves until they host that Lombardi.
MVP. You go on Brock, you go on CMC, Crocky.
Oh, that is a great one. I'm going to go Brock. And I love what Christian McCaffrey's doing. I saw what Tom Brady said. He said, hey, if it was him, he'd give it to CMC. I think it was George Kittle. He also said that he'd give it to CMC. But I'm going to go Brock because I think, at the level in which he's executing, he's not only not losing games for the 49ers, he is a big part of contributing to the wins because of the efficiency. And he's making it look so easy. I think he's making it look so easy that people are kind of discrediting him and saying it's only Kyle. And Kyle has his part in this as well, and the players. But the level at which he's being efficient, man, I mean, I haven't seen this before.
Right.
So, in a long time. I mean, there's been, Tom Brady, there's been Peyton Manning, Drew Brees. But as far as right now, it's hard to find another quarterback that's playing as great in their system as he is in his, and at the level he's doing it. So shout out to Brock Purdy. I think he should be MVP.
Yeah, no, he's averaging 10 yards at a tip, basically, a first down at a tip. And I think this is the best offense. I think this offense is better than the 94 Niners right now. I think they got more playmakers than the 94 Niners, which is insane, but that's a conversation for if the 49ers win that Super Bowl in February. Now, I do want to get to this because you're the perfect guy. I've been following you on Twitter, getting laughs out of this. I'm a little weary of retweeting it or talking about it because you never know who's watching, how people take it. But you could get away with that, Crocky. But I could get away with talking about it on these airways. So Rashard Mendenhall, former running back out of Illinois and, of course, Pittsburgh Steelers. He tweeted out earlier this week, I'm sick of average white guys commenting on football. Y'all not even good at football. Can we replace the Pro Bowl with an all-black versus all-white bowl so these cats can stop trying to teach me who's good at football? I'm better than your GOAT. Now, Will Compton was busting it with the boys. I didn't realize how hilarious he was. He took this and said, okay, let's do the all-white and all-black bowl, but I feel good about my all-white team. And he got me thinking, man, this all-white team is pretty damn good. You got Bosa's, you got J.J. Watt, T.J. Watt, you got the quarterbacks. He said we got all the tight ends, and then Delaney Walker came with his team, and then Will Compton's like, yo, Christian McCaffrey's playing both sides of the ball. He's playing safety. We're dropping 8. We're rushing the passer. It was hilarious, but I think Rashard Mendenhall's out of pocket with this because football's a one sport where I know there's not a lot of white cornerbacks, but offensive linemen, quarterbacks. You got some white receivers, Cooper Kupp, my guy Adam Thielen for many, many years, Puka Nacua. You can put him in that class. The tight ends, defensive linemen. It's kind of out of pocket for Rashard Mendenhall to say something like that. It sounds like he's going through something deeper.
It's kind of wild because I remember growing up, the all-white schools and the all-white teams, they always beat the all-black kids. You know what I'm saying? I remember our coaches always say, hey, man, we play this team. If it's an all-white kids, right, it's like, they're going to be a little disciplined. They're going to do everything right. But then when you play the all-black schools, it's like, hey, they're going to have really good athletes, but they're a little undisciplined. Right. But as far as Will Compton, man, I thought he did an amazing job of kind of, like, bringing laughter and light to a situation where people are like, man, this dude Mendenhall, he's kind of tripping right now.
Right.
He did a great job of, I felt like what Will did, it should have been some kind of like stand-up comedy type special or a bit or something like that, because he had the perfect amount of kind of like racial stereotypes in it. Like when he said, hey, you only get 2 weeks to prepare. I think that favors us. Like just like little things like that I thought was comedy. So Will, I've been following him. We've been following each other for years now. He's always been this funny guy. Right. Anybody that you've been around that's been in the locker room with him, they say he's always been that type of guy as well. So great stuff by him. Anybody that takes it too serious, come on, man. But I thought it was really funny, man. I laughed the entire time.
No, when he said, man, if you say the word and you're a half-C, well, you go on this side. If you don't say the word, then maybe you go on this side. It was comedy.
My kids are half white. So, I went straight to them. We're like, do my kids say the word? Do they say it? I know I do. But they don't. So I think my son, he would have been good on the other side.
Hey, you're so right, though, because I remember playing Pop Warner football, and we played all the Marin teams. Sebastopol, Rancho Cotati up in Rohnert Park, the Marin teams, Novato. And you're like, man, them boys are big. Them big country boys, man, they going to wear us out. And you're not lying, man. Them all-white teams gave us that work. So football's in one sport, man. I don't think it doesn't matter. If you're a baller, you're a baller. It doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah, and also he referenced one thing. He said, they just started hiring black coaches, so the white coach side, they got the edge, and he wasn't lying. I was trying to do it coach for coach. I'm like, man, black guys, we might be a little in trouble. We got to win off all.
You got Mike Tomlin probably coaching that team.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about Mike Tomlin.
Well, maybe Tomlin's your head coach. You got Eric Bieniemy as your offensive coordinator. There's a staff that can develop there.
Hey, Crocky, man, this will be a hell of a battle. This will be a hell of a battle, man. They got the tight ends too. Like Will Compton said, we got all the tight ends.
I kind of want to see this matchup now.
Oh, it was great. It was great
get
stuff.
too into it, though.
Eric, man, continued success, man. You're doing a great job, man, covering football. Lockdown Podcast, of course, Lockdown 49ers. Ravens Niners going to be a very fun Christmas night special. I hope to see you soon, man. Thanks for all the work you do for us. Always coming out here on the Morning Roast. Our roasters appreciate you. Our audience appreciate you, man. Happy holidays and you and yours, brother.
All right, thanks, guys. You guys have a great one.
You too. Eric Crocker here on the Morning Roast on 95.7 The Game.